Another one for Tommy boy. Another one for the world. Another one for the listeners. And maybe for the
Episode number 23 of the Third Leg Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Riley Warren, and alongside me is my co-host, Dr. Dunny. How you doing? How you been, buddy?
Pretty good. It was a great weekend. Excited to talk more sports. We're getting closer and closer, boys. We're getting closer and closer.
Closer and closer. We do have a preseason game this week in the NFL, so from this weekend until like December, February, we will have football every week. We're good.
Every
We're
week,
there. We
baby.
made it. We made it. Even if it's preseason, baby, we made it.
You know I'm tuning in. I'll have a parlay going.
Oh, always. Absolute D-Gen. Got to start it off right. Today we are talking about the Pac-12. This
Who?
isn't the best conference. There's a few teams we think will make some noise, but more than half of the conference we have zero faith in. Just a precursor. Did you want to get into the little hardball scandal we got going on?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the biggest news for us, right? Like Harbaugh this week, it's been announced that they've agreed to a 4-game suspension. It still has to get signed off on by the NCAA, I guess. Um, but all because he didn't remember who bought the cheeseburger, I guess, if that's what I understand correctly. So we'll be without him for the first 4 games, it looks like. Truthfully, it shouldn't matter, right? But still sucks not having your coach there on the sidelines for you, especially if one of the games that you're supposed to blow them out, it ends up going tight. So we'll see.
Do you have any identification or any details on who's going to be the interim for those 4 games or which coordinator is going to step up? Or I've seen some people kind of floating Mike Hart around because he's been there past few years. He's alum. They should get the 4 wins. Kind of just let them get a little bit underneath the Harbaugh belt. I wasn't sure if you had any take on that.
I can only imagine it'd be one of the assistant coaches, one of the coordinators, purely because, like, with the thing that they laid out, Harbaugh is going to get to coach them all the way up to the game and then just can't be on the sidelines with them. So it's like, okay, this guy, the head coach that's out there is just going to be a dude,
Is
right?
he going to be at home with a mic that he can just talk to him through?
No
Like
shit.
he's up in the
No,
booth.
he's gonna be out at my tailgate, chilling on the golf course with a mic. Right, that'd be awesome. But no, I've seen even like Charles Woodson and Desmond Howard floated around as like the co-interim head coaches.
Yeah.
Which I mean, that'd be pretty cool, right? They're two legends in themselves. But
They'll
I would
pan
only imagine it'd
they'll
have to be
pan
an
it to
offensive rookie.
they'll pan it to the booth and it'll be like new coordinator Tim Tarbaugh.
Right.
It'll be him with like a
Damn,
mustache and shit.
they're gonna get John to do the interim head coach.
Oh, that would actually be that would be such a troll. That would be a troll.
Can
I don't
you
even know
imagine?
I don't even know if that's legal, but that would be hilarious. Is it really over a cheeseburger though?
That's what
It
they
can't
say.
strictly be a cheeseburger though, right? It's
Well, it was
he
because there was
had to have bought the meal.
right. They asked him who paid for this, and if he would have just said it was me, it would have been good, I guess. But because he said he didn't give him an answer, and then it came out that it was him, it looked like he was trying to hide it. So that's why he's getting suspended, at least from what I'm understanding. So, yeah, the NCAA is such a freaking joke. Like Urban Meyer, when he was coaching, knew he had domestic violence going on in by his offensive coordinator, didn't report it, and got a 3-game suspension.
Yeah. That's some fugazi shit. That's all I'm gonna say.
Like, what the
4 game
hell?
suspension for a cheeseburger. We might have to put that on a shirt because that's gonna go down in history. And the only thing that annoys me is that I know like teams inside the Big Ten, like Michigan State and Ohio State, like they're just gonna chirp like you guys are cheating, like fucking cheeseburger cheating. That's what the
Right.
shirt's gonna say. Cheeseburger cheaters.
And I saw some kid on Twitter tweeted, or I guess X now,
Oh my
tweeted,
god.
as a former D3 athlete who only played in 7 snaps when we were down 81-0, I can confirm on every recruiting trip I went on, I was bought a cheeseburger. Like, oh my god.
Oh, I love Twitter /X trolls.
Right.
That's good shit. All right,
Ultimately, I
well,
don't think it'll matter though for us.
no, I don't think so. We know we have a cupcake schedule to begin. Hopefully, we don't have a close endeavor, and nobody talks about it. He can just step in week 5 and get the ball rolling. So
Right. I told the
I
guys
hope
who
to God.
texted me about it first, said they'll win every game, they'll still cover every game. So be ready, boys.
Hell yeah, he's talking about the covers already. I love it.
Amen. Amen. Let's go.
Amen. All right, let's roll the Pac-12. Let's do alphabetical like we do. Let's start at the top. Arizona State.
All right. So these are the teams out west for those who don't know where the Pac-12 is. I believe Utah won it last year in the Pac-12 championship game.
Yep.
Um, Arizona State lost their head coach a couple or has going through a new head coaching regime, I believe, because Herm Edwards no longer is the head coach there. So Arizona State, their over under set at 5. I say take the under on this. I have them at 3-9. They were a 3-win team last year. I think they're still going to be dog poop. They'll beat Southern Utah in the beginning of their season. They'll beat Fresno in the beginning of their season, and then some random Pac-12 team. Who it'll be, I don't know, but they will win one. So that's what I
Well,
have. 3 and
yeah,
9.
we're right on the same page with that. I have them beating Southern Utah, Fresno State, and either Colorado or some other random Stanford probably. But yeah, I have literally nothing good to say about half of these teams. Most of their over unders are below 5, if that tells you anything. But we were not going to skip this conference, so we're fucking running it through. We're going to let you know what
Right.
we think. But yeah, I got them at winning 3 wins, 4 games max. Either way, I think under 5 is pretty good on this team.
All right. Before we get too far into it, I did want to say like this is the last year you'll ever see this as the Pac-12. So we have to cover it now.
Yeah, absolutely.
With everyone leaving, there's 3 teams that are leaving this conference at least. So Arizona, next up on the list, over under set at 5 again. I'm not as confident with this, but I'm saying 4-8 for them. So they were a 5-win team last year. I think they're a basketball school. They'll beat Northern Arizona, UTEP, Stanford, and then either Arizona State or Washington State. I'm not sure which, but they'll do it.
I'm pretty close with you. I got them at 5 or 6 wins. I think my last was 6 wins. I got them beating the 3 shitty schools, and then Stanford, Colorado, and Arizona State.
Okay. See, yeah. Well,
I'm
we'll
not
get
I'm
to
not I'm
Colorado
not
here in
high,
a sec.
I'm not high on, over 5. I think this is like best case scenario push at 5 flat.
Right.
I wouldn't ever risk a unit at all for them to go over 5, but if it was 4.5, maybe, but 5 flat, I don't think there's any value in that. So
Amen to
I
that.
think Arizona, the entire state of Arizona, is going to be dog shit this year in football. So we'll let that slide, and we'll see in basketball season.
We'll see you in basketball season where you'll get bounced in the first or second round of the March Madness tournament. But well, who cares?
But who's going?
Whose bracket are we ruining this year? I guess. California. So the Cal Bears, home of Aaron Rodgers and good old Jared Goff. Over under 5 wins.
Marshawn Lynch.
Oh, I forgot Marshawn with
Come
the
on.
cart. That
That's
is an all time
legendary,
clip.
dude.
That's an all time clip for sure.
Nobody's ever done that, dog. That is
And no
a
one's yelling at him either.
no. They're getting out of the way.
Right. Over under 5 wins. I have them at 6-6. So I guess if you feel confident about that, you can take them to win 5 or more. 4-win team last year. They'll beat North Texas. They'll beat Idaho. They'll beat Arizona State, Washington State, and Stanford is what I think. So 6-6.
Well, I got them. I got them with 5 wins,
Okay.
maybe 4. I don't. We'll see. It's really gonna. A lot of this is gonna depend on Arizona State and Washington State, because I have a lot of teams um, beating them. I don't think they're going to be that great, but if they're the one team that ends up getting 6 wins, I think they could beat Cal. But North Texas, Idaho, Arizona State, Washington State, same teams. I don't see the rest of their schedule faring well for them. They got a tough road schedule, and the top teams in this conference, I think, are literally just going to run it and only lose one or two games to those said teams. So
And that seems to be what happens every year with this conference. Like, there's 2 or 3 teams that are right around that 9, 10, 11 wins right at the end of the season, potentially going to, the CFP if one of them wins out, and then they lose to some random ass team that they shouldn't lose to. So,
yeah, that's what happens, dude. Like, there's 12 teams, like 6 or 7 of them are actually ass, but a couple of those teams get like key wins that kind of like
right.
keep them relevant or whatever on a national stage. But for the most part, the conference is, pretty shit.
Keep the fans coming every week.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, next on the list, probably the most polarizing team, I guess, right now. Colorado, the good old Buffaloes up there, over under 3.5. So this is the lowest line we're gonna see in the Pac-12.
The most
I
news
per-
coverage, lowest line.
right, I personally am a Deion Sanders believer, and I love what he does with his football team. He's bringing in a whole hell of a lot of talent. I'm taking the over. 6-6 is where I have them. Will they struggle against good teams? Yes. This university's football team sucked last year. They were bad.
Bad.
But it's Dion. He's changing the culture. I believe in him, so I'm taking him over 6-6. What do you got?
So they brought in 70 plus new players, first time ever. I mean, it is a literal. He brought his luggage. He wasn't
Mhm.
bullshitting. He brought his whole squad. I barely have them going over 3.5. I got them winning 4 games this year. Nebraska, Colorado State, rivalry in state, Washington State, and Arizona State. Like I said, the Washington State and Arizona State are my two determining factors on if most of these teams are gonna get to that 5 win mark. It includes beating them. So
Right.
um I'm not super high on them. There's a lot of first time division, like high tier Division 1 football going to be played. They play Nebraska like week 1, so they'll get some Big 10 football, even though lower tier, whatever. That week 1, we'll see. We'll see what they're about. And like I said, they've had the most news coverage, and they're super polarizing within the media. Only at 3.5 to start. Like, if you would have told me going into the year, I would have thought they would have been like a 4.5, 5. Three and a
Yeah,
half just seems crazy low. I know they have a tough schedule, but 3.5 is wild.
like I said, this team was ass last year. Like, I know they brought in 70 something players, but and Dion's a culture changer. But I guess Vegas says it doesn't matter. The team is just going to continue doing what it's been doing. It might take 2 or 3 years for you to get that system instilled before that we start to see the higher lines.
Yeah, that's what I think. I mean, we all know. Vegas knows. Vegas knows. We're not smarter in Vegas, so this line is set there for a reason. I think most systems take 2, 3, 4, 5 years. The only difference with him is that he didn't have to wait to get his own guys in like most
Right,
coaches do. They have to do 1 year at a time, 20, recruits, and let the seniors go and replace them like that. He's just doing a complete U-Haul. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt this first year, regardless of what happens, and look forward to the next year and how they're going to build off of this and see what kind of new talent they get in. Because they're going to, if they do anything this year, and even if they don't, Prime's going to get prime players, and we'll see if he's there for 5 years, we're going to see like what kind of talent he can bring to Colorado. And they're leaving the division, so
right.
we're going to get more money going to the Big 12. So
Yep, they're going to the conference, the good old Big 12 conference, who's losing people too. So I guess it'd be like, well, they're bringing in 4 now 5 teams, but
it's a big
it'll be interesting.
shakeup.
Right. It'll be interesting to see because I think week 4, Colorado versus Oregon is the game that I'm going to be interested to watch because Oregon should like just whole handedly beat them, but Oregon's coach in this past week has been kind of throwing smack out there in the media, talking about how who gives a shit if Colorado's leaving? They've never done anything in this conference. So I can only imagine Dion's putting it on the bulletin boards now, getting everyone ready, and I think Oregon's going to be in for a war.
For sure. That a lot of these Pac-12 games are super weird mid-season. There's a
Right.
lot of weird fucking games because there's so many average teams. So you show up one week and you don't show up the next week. There's a lot of like variance within this conference throughout the year. But I'm intrigued to watch Colorado. I'm gonna be glued in on them and probably be watching and keeping up to date week to week just to see how they're doing. And Dion's got a son playing QB, so I mean that's just another star stud to watch. He's got a lot riding on his shoulders. People think he's got his dad's history on his back
Right.
and having to perform. He's got a lot on his shoulders, so they're going to be super exciting. The most exciting 3.5 win projected
Right.
team in the country. So
No, I feel you for sure. Yeah. Um. Next up, Oregon, the Ducks. Over under set at 9.5. I don't like this line personally. I think they're going to go under 8-4 is what I have them at. They've got some easy games: Portland State, Hawaii, Stanford. I think they beat Washington and Washington State, California, ASU, Oregon State. So they win the battle of the Northwest, I guess. But I don't think they perform as well as they hope to, at least in the last couple years.
for sure, I'm right there with you. I got them at 9 wins. That's definitely going to be the ceiling for them. I believe. I think they lose to the usual good teams in this conference as USC, Utah, Washington.
Right.
But like we talk about, we know those coin flip games throughout the year. There's definitely a high probability that they only won 8 games this year. But I got them at 9. I feel okay with it. I do love the under 9.5 here. I would circle this team for this conference and look at that for our total futures going forward.
Definitely. I think this is the Oregon is going to Auburn week 1 or 2. I think so. They didn't schedule just some cupcake game. They're actually traveling to play SEC
I feel
football.
like they do that a lot.
Right. Go
Like they,
play the
yeah,
teams that they probably shouldn't.
yeah, first couple weeks, like I remember them. They've played Michigan week 2. They've played Ohio State week 1 or 2. Like they play big games. They don't do the Alabama Georgia strap.
Right. Right. Sticking in the state, you got Oregon State, 8.5 wins is what they're set at. I got under again, so 7-5. Just not a team I'm very big on. Don't really trust the Beavers. Sorry.
So Oregon State is lucky they don't have to play USC this year.
Right.
I am. It's I got them winning 8-9 games. It's basically the same tale as Oregon. They're gonna lose to Utah, Washington, and Oregon. They don't play
Okay.
USC, so just substitute Oregon with USC. Um, but yeah, I think they're kind of in the same boat right now. I think Oregon going in is the better team because they have Bo Nix. If Bo Nix steps up this year and makes that leap that we've been waiting for fucking 3 years since his rookie year or freshman year, I think Oregon has a good chance to play better. But at the end of the day, I don't think Oregon State is going to be like that 10-win team and be competing against Utah and USC for the title.
Wholeheartedly agree with you. Oh, and I guess I lied about the lowest you're going to see because Stanford is next, and their over
Yeah.
under is set at 3 games. So, whoopsies, my bad. I
Yeah.
lied. There is a
So
team worse.
Stanford's biggest problem, as usual, is they suck in the transfer because it's hard as hell to get the GPA requirements. That's always going to be their problem, is to get guys from around the country to be able to transfer in that are ready to plug and play.
Right.
This is a complete development school. Like you have to play your 4 years more than likely. You're going to sit 2, play 2. And that's kind of how this goes for Stanford. And it's really hard for them to year over year get better because they just have so many rookies coming or freshmen coming in that can't play, that aren't ready to play like most of these big time schools do. They just have studs coming in at position or skilled positions and can just step on the field and play. And Stanford rarely has that anymore.
Right, and isn't it crazy to say, like, within the last 10 years, they've had 2 generational talents, and now their team is expected to win or lose or win 3 games, maybe?
Yeah,
It's just insane to me.
if you're a Stanford fan, I'm sure the last few years have been really tough because there just hasn't been a lot of talent around the ball. They have to they have to be a ground and pound team and hopefully that or hold other teams less than like 24-27, or it's a complete blowout. It's going to be a loss for sure. They don't have the talent around the ball to score 30 points multiple times a year and, be relied on to do that. So it's tough if you're a Stanford fan, but you could always go back to your roots and, thank God you at least got to watch Andrew Luck truck people for a few years.
And Christian McCaffrey play when he did, so
Yeah, you could have had fucking a blind quarterback and you guys still would have won 8 games with CMC.
Amen, he was doing it all.
Kick return,
Um,
punt return. Yeah, that dude was nuts.
Stanford over under 3. I took the over. I have them at 4 and 8. I don't know why I took them at 4 and 8, but I did. I don't know. I think they'll win 4 games.
I did the same. I took 4. I put a question mark to it. I think it's 3 to 4 wins max. That's their ceiling.
Right.
Hawaii, Sacramento State, Cal are like the 3 that I think they'll win.
And then some
I
random
hope,
ass.
yeah, I hope they do better because it's tough to see that. You would like to see. I mean, just imagine going into the year, looking around, and just knowing you don't have like the talent.
Right.
Year in and year out, the coaches, the players. I mean, everyone knows like you guys are just too fucking smart. Like we need studs over here
Not
that
enough
only care about
athleticism for too
sports.
much books. Right.
Yeah, get the books out of here. We need a few just studs. But
We
yeah,
got a
three,
team
four
full of
wins
GPA
max.
builders.
Yeah, dude. Their whole team is GPA builders. They got that sneaky speed, people would say.
Right. Good God. You watch them with one eye closed, I guess, maybe, but um UCLA is up next. The Bruins over and under 8.5. Obviously, they're losing their starting quarterback and starting running back to the NFL draft this past year. Um, I do have them at 9-3, so I took them over in this 8.5 wins, but I'm not really confident about it. I could see them, struggling again. But I think Chip Kelly's still there, right?
Yep,
So Chip Kelly's offense, they should put up a lot of yards and score a lot of points. So if the defenses that they're playing against aren't ready for it, they could win a lot of games.
for sure. That's what they do. I got them at 9 wins as well. They got 2 transfer quarterbacks that have experience under their belt, and they have a stud freshman quarterback, Dante Moore. So they're gonna. It's really just. I'm curious on who they're just gonna give the rock game one. If they let Dante Moore rock and let him progress throughout the season,
Right.
or if they're just gonna let him sit behind one of the players that's already started for a year and transferred in. Regardless, Chip Kelly's going to have his offensive scheme be the offensive scheme. We'll see. I bet you the most athletic quarterback is going to be the one that gets the nod. But I do have them losing to the usual suspects: USC, Utah, maybe Oregon State, or one of the random coin toss games. So
Right.
it's always fun to watch his offense, regardless of who he has. It's always fun to watch his offense. It's super high tempo, a lot of plays every game, and they're just really fast on the field.
For sure. When he was at Oregon, good God, that was fun to watch. And then when he went to Philly and Mike Vick was still there, I
Oh
remember going,
my,
"Oh God, yes, this is perfect."
for sure.
Obviously, didn't work out too well, but it was at least fun for a little bit to watch.
Yeah, it's fun in your head, the potential, because you know what he's cooking. It's just whether or not it's gonna play out well. He's cooking some shit up there. His playbook's pretty fucking deep.
Right, exactly. Very creative, very creative. USC is next, so the Trojans. You got Lincoln Riley there. You got Caleb Williams there. So this is the cream of the crop for the Pac-12 right now. Over under set at 10. I think that's a sharp line. Right at 10 is where I have them. 10-2. The reason why I think they'll lose at Notre Dame this year. Intense rivalry game. It happens right in the middle of the season. They have to travel to South Bend. I think they lose, and then I think they lose to a random Pac-12 team. I'm not sure which one it'll be, but it just seems to be what happens every year to USC. Like they're playing well, they're playing well, they're playing well, and then they lose to some random team that they should have beat, and all the train is off the rails at that point.
Dude, that is classic USC.
It
Classic.
truthfully is.
Classic. Since that Texas loss, I think any team that was projected really well had that kind of stigma going in, and it happened. But it's not going to happen this year. I got them winning every
Uh-oh.
fucking game this year. Undefeated. Caleb Williams going for Heisman. Their biggest problem is their defense, as every Pac-12 biggest problem is going to be their defense, especially playing like Notre Dame, out of conference teams. I think they get their shit together.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure there's been a few people that said that every year for the last 10 years, but I'm going to be that guy this year.
Okay.
I wanted to take some kind of leap with this conference. So my leap is USC winning out 12-0, winning the conference, going to the college playoffs.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see them there then.
Yes, we'll see. Week one, they lose. This video will be demolished.
Deleted.
Delete.
It got edited. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah,
uh,
I hope they put this conference on their back. If they don't, I hope I hope one of these teams go undefeated, USC or Utah.
right. I hope Caleb Williams stays healthy because that's what I guess cost them the last few games, or at least derailed them last year. Was him getting hurt. The man should win the Heisman Trophy. He should be the number one draft pick in the NFL draft next year. If he can stay healthy, they have a good chance at going 12-0. But I don't know. I just think they drop 2 games because that's USC for you.
Hey, I'm with you. If you're going off of trends, statistics, and whatever, I mean, you're right on the money. I'm just gonna take a leap of faith and hope USC has my back this year.
Okay, all right. Well, the team they lost to in the Big 12 championship last year, right? I think that's who they played, at least. Utah, over and under 8.5 wins. I have them going 10-2 as well. I actually wrote on my notes, chance to go undefeated if they can pull out the tough games on the road at Baylor and at USC. So they have to play in Southern Cal, and they have to go to Texas to play Baylor. I think they're winnable games, especially they do return their quarterback that they played with last year, so he has that experience. Hopefully, he can kind of lead them to that. But I do think they go 10-2 and go over the 8.5.
All right, I got them at 11-1. I think Utah and USC are going to be the teams to beat. I think they are. Whoever wins that matchup is going to go uh,
Undefeated.
undefeated, or whoever wins that game is going to win the division at the end of the day, and
Okay.
the other one's going to go to the Rose Bowl. It's kind of
Hey.
how it's going to go, because I think one's going to go undefeated, one's going to, even if one's 10-2, the other one's going to the Rose Bowl. So Cam Rising's an absolute stud at dual threat. They run a lot of design runs for him.
Yep.
He's a fall forward kind of quarterback, super tough. I really liked watching him play. I love smashing his prize picks overs and rushing yards or rushing touchdowns. So the guy's an absolute unit. But I do have them losing to USC this year, but I would not be surprised if they pull it off and they're the team that go to the college football playoffs. So
Okay.
I'm high on
All
both of these teams. I'm super excited just for USC, Utah, and then Colorado.
right. Okay. So you're predicting a Pac-12 team to make it to the CFP.
Yep, I am predicting one of these teams to go undefeated, and they have to get the nod at the end of the day.
Okay. All right. Well, it'll make the case for why it needs to be expanded, I guess, right? Um, Washington 9.5 is what the over under set at. They played pretty well last year.
Mhm.
I think they go 8-4. I do have them beating Michigan State in East Lansing week 2, so bring it on, Sparties. But I do think the Huskies go 8-4, so under that 9.5.
I respect that. I got them at 8-4, 9-3. I got them losing to USC, Oregon, and Oregon State. I did mark that play at MSU. I'm excited for that game. Washington always plays tougher defense for this conference. They're
Right.
kind of more like a hard nosed football team rather than just like a run and gun, hoping to score 45. Like they can play these low scoring 20-point games if need be. I think, like they're one of the more hard nosed football teams in this conference. And, 8-4, 9-3 isn't too far off. It's going to be tough to beat USC and Oregon. Those two teams are pretty much going to beat everyone in their division. They don't have to play Utah, so they kind of get lucky on that side. But yeah, I think they're going to be, top 4, top 5 team in this conference like they usually are. And yeah, I just hope they wax MSU's ass, honestly.
Love
I'll
it.
be rooting for them one game. That's it. And that'll be, week 2.
Go Huskies.
Go Huskies.
Uh,
One time for the one time.
amen. Washington State is next, the very last team that we have. Over under 5. I have them going under 4-8. Not much to say about this team. Typically not a very good football team, but they will surprise a team if they're not taken seriously. So um, they'll go 4-8. They'll win a lot of their non-conference games and then maybe squeak out a win or two in the Pac-12.
Yeah, this is one of those teams that lets up 50 points a game, but they had, Coach Mike Leach, and it was just fun to watch
Right.
their offense kind of go. Their defense was always ass, but creativity wise, and they were throwing it 55 times a game. That was fun to watch, but they've never been a big contender in this conference, and I don't think this is the year that's going to change that whatsoever. There's no big time recruits coming in. Nobody from like the transfer portal that is marquee names. So I don't see them winning over 5 games. I got them winning 3 or 4 games this year.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, air raid offense, right? Rest in peace, Mike Leach. See if they keep it going there for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope a few of these teams in the conference make me bite my tongue a little bit, because there's just so much average and complacency within this conference the last 5 years that it's hard to get too high on these teams and expect more than usual out of them.
No, I agree. Recap pretty much. We believe in USC and Utah, depending on which team of that wins their head-to-head matchup, should win the Pac-12, and then everyone else you can pretty much take their under.
Yep. And Oregon at 9.5. Oregon's going to be one of the better teams in the conference, but with their line at 9.5, I don't see a lot of value for that.
Right.
If anything, I would take the under, because more than likely Oregon's going to let up 50 points a game for probably 5 or 6 of those games like they usually do. So,
And then if you believe in Colorado and Deion Sanders, take that over 3.5. They're going for 6 wins this year.
yeah, that over 3.5 is just complete fucking bait. The sports
Right.
book, that is bait. The fact that they didn't make it 4 flat is wild.
Oh, got him. Come on,
Yeah.
Jimmy.
And it's going to come down to, they got to beat Nebraska, because if they don't beat Nebraska, that 3.5 is going to look abysmal.
Right.
They,
They better
because
beat Nebraska.
Yeah, they better beat Nebraska and Colorado State for sure. They play TCU, I think, like week 2. It's like Nebraska, then TCU.
No, I
If
think they
s-
played TCU week 1. That's who they open with. So they're gonna
oh,
get their
really?
ass smacked right away.
Oh
Yep.
my god! If for some reason they were to win that game, though,
Right.
the media would blow up,
Oh, for sure.
absolutely blow up, and
Their over
Dion,
under for wins would go to 5.5 or 6.5 for sure, right away.
there would be people transferring already for next year.
Right. Yeah, coach, I'll sit out. That's fine. I'm
Yeah,
good
I'll
with the
sit out a year. I need one more year of eligibility with Prime.
right. So if you believe in us and you kind of like what we're saying, just for shits and giggles, Pac-12 odds to win the conference, you've got USC at plus 190. They're the odds-on favorite, which makes sense. They have the best offense. They should have won the Pac-12 last year if their quarterback didn't get hurt. Maybe they'll
Top
repeat this year
Yeah, top 3 Heisman, going
for
into
sure.
the year,
He
finalist
should
or
be the
whatever.
favorite
So,
for sure.
yeah.
And then you have Utah, who we also liked at plus 600. So those are the two teams that we kind of hit on. Oregon and Washington are the other two that are favorites, I guess I should say, at plus 300, plus 320. But I don't really believe in them. So
Yeah, I think for me, the best value here is Utah at 600. I
right,
mean, we'll see, but I think Utah at 600 in comparative to Washington at plus 320 and Oregon at plus 300. You can get double that at Utah, who have been proving themselves. Played super tough against Ohio State in the Rose Bowl last year after beating USC in that highly touted offense. So they got a little bit of momentum coming in with one of the best dual threat quarterbacks in the country. If Caleb Williams wasn't in this division, we'd be talking about Cam Rising being, the best player or quarterback in this division. So I think I think they got a lot to look forward to this year, and I expect big things. So a little Sprinkin being at 600, even though I'm kind of all in on USC. So
He says a little sprinkin' bink.
it's a
I
little
love
sprink. It's a
it.
little sprink, baby.
um, have you heard about the rumors that have been kind of circulating about the Big Ten and some of these teams?
We were like thinking about adding like 3 more,
Yeah,
something like
so
that. I seen it
uh,
yesterday.
apparently it's supposed to happen this week. The Big Ten should be looking to add Clemson, Florida State, Oregon, and Washington.
I don't want to see Dabo every year.
Yep.
Fuck Dabo. Dude,
So
what is the point of conferences if it's not going to be anywhere near regional?
right, and I mean that. Yeah, that's the thing that everyone's saying is okay. If that happens, it's no longer
Money.
right. Well, it's all about money, and it's no longer conferences. It's just side A versus side B, and
And
side
then
B is just the SEC.
when your contract's over, you just go negotiate with every other conference and then see if you can get more money. And if you don't, you resign. Like that's what it's going to be for every fucking team. It's like the
Right,
transfer portal for goddamn teams.
which is
Like every
insane. Like
year
you think
there's a
about that.
transfer
Yeah.
portal for the college itself.
Right, and I can only imagine, like, if this does happen, I guess it's only Tuesday, right? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Notre Dame's gotta come too, right? Like, Clemson and Florida State are coming to and USC.
What are we going to
It
have?
just
What's it
makes
going to be
sense.
called? The Big 25? How many teams are we going to have in this conference? The Big 20? We got to
I don't
change the Big
know.
10 to the Big 20, it looks like, because we already
It'll
have
be
like
the O
14.
it'll be the OGs versus the new guys.
Dude,
Those
what
are the
the fuck?
divisions.
I thought the conferences were already going to be crazy. If we add like Clemson and Florida State, put them over there with Northwestern. Let us handle our shit.
Right, and people are saying, like, it makes more sense for North Carolina to come, and I'm like, "Good night." If North Carolina came to the Big Ten, like, come
Not for
on.
basketball, please.
Right.
I didn't even think about basketball. I was just thinking about football.
Yep.
Fuck no. Don't bring any blue bloods into this bitch. We already got to worry about Michigan State.
Right. So, I mean, if it does happen, right, like the Pac-12 is losing USC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington, and Colorado. So they're down to the Big Seven
Well,
or
there's gonna be
Pac-7.
there's gonna be shitty teams that get in because that's more money for them, right?
Right.
So they're gonna get the buy-in and have a 4-year contract, 5-year contract. So it's
Hawaii.
yeah, people are gonna level up, but there's gonna be lower level football in that conference. And the conference is already kind of ass.
Right.
It's
So,
just gonna
I
be
mean,
asser.
it will no longer be a Power Five conference, I don't think.
No, it'll be a
How can it be? You
Power
know?
10 conference if they're lucky. Dude, come on. If that shit breaks by the end of the week, I will be distraught. That's so many new teams in because they would inevitably be the next year. And they're
Right.
probably just trying to get it done right now so they can figure out how the fuck they're gonna do it with all the new teams. Like it's now because if you wait till next year, then you have to restructure everything again.
Everything again.
But if you
Hmm.
do it now, you can restructure it all at once. God damn it, dude. That's gonna be so much fucking money for the Big Ten though.
Right.
Not
And
that
like,
it matters to us, but that for TV and buyouts and shit like that, that is so much extra money for the Big Ten.
you want to
Basketball,
compete with the
football,
SEC.
baseball, everything.
Right. You want to compete with the SEC for these recruits? Well, this is how you could do it. You're bringing in this conglomerate of a freaking conference in which everyone is wanting to go play because you're going to not only be in Big Ten country, but you're going to travel to Cali. You're going to go to South Carolina. You're going to go to Florida, for these games. And
Let's
you're
just
still going to be a
eliminate
Grand Island.
conferences and just fucking pick your 12 people you play against. Who gives a shit?
Amen. I think that's what it's going to come to and what it should be.
The conference titles are going to be so weird.
Agreed. I agree wholeheartedly. I think they're going to have to end up breaking it down like, okay, east of the Mississippi, west of the Mississippi, north of Kentucky, south of Tennessee. Like that's the line, right? Like, good God.
That was the OG status. That's what they tried to do to begin with. That's how conferences started.
Right, and just call them north, south, east, west.
God damn it. Well, either way, it's kind of exciting. We'll have more shit to talk about.
For sure.
That's just a huge change. Just having USC and UCLA is a big enough change for the Big Ten. Those are California fucking teams. Now you're gonna add Florida State, Dabo, fucking Sweeney. I don't want to see his ass. If I gotta watch Michigan, and watch Clemson run down that dumbass hill and touch that stupid ass rock, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind, dude. That's the dumbest tradition ever. Nobody cares about that rock. And why does Dabo run so fucking fast?
He's like a little hobbit running.
He's like one of those refs you see in like high school games that are just hauling dick, dude.
God.
He saves up all his energy just for that one fucking run to touch the rock.
For sure.
All right, you got me worked up today.
Sorry. Let's talk about things coming up though. So we are going to talk with Sweatpants Jesus, right? We're gonna meet up with his crew.
Yes, sir. We're doing that tomorrow, so we'll be live with them tomorrow, 6:00. Probably be like a little hour thing. Super excited. Well,
nothing. There was either a gunshot or a firework that just
oh
went off
God, I couldn't hear it. But yeah, so Sweatpants Jesus with betting news on Bet Espresso, 6:00 tomorrow. With them, Mac.
You can watch live on Twitch, right?
Yeah, so the whole thing is live.
Okay.
Their show is live. I don't know if they put it on YouTube or not. They're just a live stream, I believe. Bet Espresso at least. So
yep.
Sweatpants Jesus, Mac, and Shaggy, and then we'll be on there. We're gonna do our favorite plays, our one lock of the day, and then we're gonna do a big lotto like they usually do. So yeah, check us out. That'll be on, I believe it's twitch.tv/betting news. I would imagine. Yeah. So check us out there. They'll also be live on Twitter, and I don't know if they do IG, but betting news and Sweatpants Jesus on Twitter. So check us out there tomorrow, and going forward next week, we're going to do another division, and then we're going to do our NFL Super Goats. That we're going to take a whole episode to make a prize pick entry, 6 legs for the 25x. So I don't know how we're going to do it exactly, but I would like to get some people on just to get some perspectives. Yeah, just some perspective, just to bounce shit off of other people, because some people are super high on other people depending on who their favorite team is, whatever. So
right. I have one together already that I'm looking forward to sharing with everyone. And then obviously the one that we end up making together will be nice.
I do believe we're gonna take like 3 or 4 of those legs, so it might be a little easier than normal.
Perfect.
Definitely taking one of the passing yards, 2 of the receiving yards.
It's just gonna.
I won't say who, but yeah.
Right. For sure.
Alrighty. That's gonna do it for us with episode 23, Pac-12 breakdown. You got any final words, Don?
Nothing. I'll see you later.
All right, I'll see you later. Peace.
Another one for Tommy boy. Another one for the world. Another one for the listeners.